Some common challenges that we see in physical security environments, specifically for infrastructure. And more often than not, what we see a lot of is where the blame game occurs when things typically go wrong. When things are perceived as going wrong in a physical security infrastructure, it's more often than not going to be artifacted video or some type of degraded video, latent PTZ control, system instability, loss of video, loss of archivers, database instability, or just overall system instability. And that often leaves the end user particularly focusing on where do I approach or where do I go for that next step to actually get resolution to this issue. And so what we see is going on about, I'd say about 9 years ago, while I was working with Avaya, we did a case study with respects to looking into video surveillance and looking into physical security and where do people perceive the common problems, where things can go wrong, and what percentage of those could be potentially infrastructure related. So in this particular study, 22% of the entities that took place in the study or participated in the study reported that they had camera or VMS based issues. Now I'll tell you that that particular number being 22% is probably erroneous. And that's due to the fact that other types of issues with infrastructure and cabling, resources at the switch level and or storage level often manifest themselves as problems with an IP camera or problems with the VMS. So more often than not, that first call goes out to a particular VMS vendor trying to figure out why they're encountering these kinds of issues. But while it's listed at 22% complaining about that, I would say that in reality, that number is going to be a little bit lower. 33% talked about delays in pulling up video footage. Now, this one becomes mission critical when you're looking at applications where responsiveness is key. And you look at environments where you need to be incredibly responsive, you need to be active in seeing what's going on in a particular environment. One that comes to mind is you've got numerous shootings that are happening at schools and in workplace environments, and the ability to actually pull that video up in real time and not only look at what the video is, but the latency or the amount of time that it takes to pull up video can often be mission critical in determining where a particular suspect or an entity is within the building. So 33% of people talk about they experience those delays in calling up video footage. Now that delay can come in either live video or pulling the archived video for retrieval. And either one of those present very challenging problems for the environment. 7% talk about lapses in video footage. Now this is where kind of the key of this presentation is going to come in. When you have lapses in video footage, it means that it was intended to and supposed to be recorded, yet you don't have any recorded or archived video to go back and review. That can be numerous issues that can cause that. Often you'll see an infrastructure related issue where there's a lack of high availability in the pathway or the infrastructure that's supporting the storage. Sometimes it can be the actual storage itself. But we'll talk about some of the technologies that can actually be used to alleviate these kinds of situations and these kinds of problems. 19% reported that they had blurry video. Well, I'd say of that 19%, probably 12 of them need to clean the lenses and or the domes on the cameras. But you can get blurry video if you have a saturation point that has become saturated within, whether it be the resources of CPU or memory have become saturated at the camera uplink going to the edge switch, uplinks going back to core distribution, or the resources of the core switch all the way down to the decode point. If any of those become saturated above a threshold of 85%, you can get artifacted or pixelized video, which can be represented as blurry or video that's not optimal. And 16% stressed issues they have with network resiliency, meaning that while they thought they had resiliency in their network, either did not converge fast enough or the actual convergence didn't lend itself to the type of operative environment that they intended or thought they were going to be working with.